what are some potential pitfalls when we try to obtain sensitivity report? Well, one thing that you might um, do is forget to select simplex LP here. So suppose I'm solving the same problem, but I leave the default value, which is the GRG nonlinear solver. This is a solver that can solve problems that are linear, but also nonlinear. It is more powerful in a sense, but for linear problems, it is slower and it provides less sensitivity information. So let us see what happens when I click solve here, right? So notice the solver still finds the same optimal solution because the solver works correctly. However, when I click sensitivity and answer reports, well, actually, let's just click sensitivity and I click OK, right? Notice I had the first sensitivity generated before, but the new sensitivity report, look what it contains. It only contains 2 additional columns here, right? For each variable, it shows a final value in something called reduced gradient, which, by the way, corresponds to reduced cost. But we are not receiving these 3 additional columns, including allowable increase and allowable decrease, right? So the sensitivity report now is much smaller, much poorer. The same thing for the constraints. We receive Lagrange multipliers, which actually corresponds to shadow prices, just a different name. However, we don't get this allowable increase decrease information for the constraints which we had if the model is linear. So one problem that we might get is, right, if we forget to select simplex LP, if we forget to tell the solver your model is linear, you might not get the full sensitivity report. Another problem, even if we select a simplex method for linear problems, suppose I add a constraint that says these variables must be integer, right? Which is actually a reasonable constraint, right? If I solve this problem now, if I click solve, the solver still finds the same solution because it happened that the solution that we obtained before was integer. So adding this constraint didn't really change the optimal solution. However, what I want you to see is there's no longer sensitivity report available here, right? Why? Well, it doesn't exist for integer problems. The solvers do not generate sensitivity report when the problem is integer, right? So these are some potential pitfalls that you may have when solving the linear problems when trying to obtain sensitivity report.